What's up guys, welcome back to a new type of video on the Zatax10 channel. Today what we will be doing is a little different video to usual. We'll be doing a Premier League review. So we'll be talking about the
Premier League, basically.
Premier League.
We're going to be talking about the Premier League every week, and he's asked me, his dad, to jump in and help him out a little bit as well. So basically, Zach, what we're going to be doing is every week we're going to be talking about forthcoming games that's coming up, games that's played. We're going to be just doing something a little bit different, but between us, we're going to be trying our best to keep you guys entertained. So what do you think, Zach? New Premier League starting 2022-2023 season. What team is it you support again? Can you just want to remind us?
Manchester City and Plymouth Argyle, a League One side.
And I'm a Brentford fan, so it's a very, very, very exciting, very, very exciting season ahead. As a Plymouth Argyle fan, then Zach, your season's already started. How did it start off on Saturday?
Well, we faced Barnsley at home on Saturday. So on Saturday we faced them at home. We beat them 1-0. Goal from one of our new signings. I can't remember his name, but I know his number.
I think he's on loan for you, isn't he? You've got him on loan.
Yeah, he's a new loan player.
Yeah. Straight, school. So what we're going to be doing to start off with, then, we're going to be doing a prediction of how we think the Premier League's going to end up this year, aren't we?
Yeah. So we've done some research and we have predicted our top division of the Premier League. So we've gone bottom to top. We're going to be going through it with you guys.
Right. So number 20. Who's the bottom three then? What number 20? Who do you think is going to come last this year?
Well, I've put Fulham.
I'm happy with that.
The reason that they have this really good player, I can't remember his name, but he's gone to Liverpool. Isn't it Carver, something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember, mate. You guys have got to remember, this is the guy here with the knowledge, the football knowledge. I'm just a dad. You know what dads are like for football knowledge. They're good. They know there's stuff about their own team, but other teams, they're not so great. So I'm going to be here helping him out. So if he doesn't know the name, I'm screwed. So basically, is it Carvalho or somebody like that?
Carvalho, something like that.
I've got a name right, guys. Got a name right. So he has gone from, I don't think it is Carvalho. I'm not quite sure. I might have to have a look up on the screen here in a minute. But he has gone from, he's gone to Liverpool, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was one of their best players. And he's just gone to Liverpool. One of the players I am excited to...
Fabinho Carvalho.
Yes.
For an undisclosed fee.
Yes.
So he was one of their star strikers and he's left there.
Another star striker, Alexander Mitrovic.
Yeah.
He broke the Ivan Toney record in the Championship last season. How do you reckon he's going to do?
Well, he's one of these players that in the Championship, he does really, really well. But when he goes to the Premiership, he never really seems to do a lot. So
yeah, I reckon he'll get between 10, 15 goals.
Yeah.
Maybe in the top 10 in the
Premier League. So you've got Fulham down as to come in last place. And if I look on my chart, I have got Fulham, rock bottom, which pleases me no end being a Brentford fan because, you know, Brentford and Fulham, arch rivals. I just don't think they can cut the mustard in the Premier League. They came up 2 seasons ago and went straight back down, and Brentford went up. We swapped places.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that they've spent enough money. I mean, I don't think they've spent anything, to be honest with you. And I just don't think that they can cut the mustard. They've got a Championship team.
Yeah.
They can't afford to buy new players, and I think that they will go right back down again. I've put them down to end up with 27 points.
Okay, so should we move on to 19th, shall we?
Let's do this.
I, for 19th, have put Bournemouth. AFC Bournemouth.
Snap. Same as me. I've got Bournemouth there as well.
They've done a bit of business, but it's all been free transfers. Not much money spent from when we're recording this.
Yeah, but free transfers are good. There's been some good free transfers this year. I mean, Brentford got rid of, we got rid of that bloke. What's his name? He played for us for a little bit last year. Ericsson, I think it was, to United. We got him on a free transfer and he's gone to United on a free transfer. So when you say that, you know, there's not very many good free transfers out there, I mean, that is a good free transfer. But Bournemouth, again, they're a team that comes up and comes down, don't like to spend a lot of money. I can't really recall them buying anybody. I haven't got it down on my notes, but I just think they're going to struggle. I just think they're one of those Championship teams that have come up that are going to go. That I don't even know who their manager is at the moment. You know?
Yeah. Well, they signed Joe Rothwell, Ryan Fredericks, ex-West Ham,
Right.
on a free transfer.
So he's gone to Bournemouth.
Yeah, he's gone to Bournemouth.
But we've both got him down. So far, we've got 20th and 19th the same. So Fulham to go down, Bournemouth to go down. Spot number 18. Who have you got to go down with Bournemouth and Fulham?
Well, I've put Southampton.
Oh, interesting. Why Southampton?
Because for me, I haven't heard any big transfers except for one of the Man City lads. Can't remember his name. He's never played in the Premier League before. He's never started, and he'll start for Southampton. And I think I've predicted Southampton to go down 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
they've just overperformed that everyone thought they would, and then again, everyone is thinking they'll go down again. So, who have you put at number 8?
I have got down another team that come up last season, Nottingham Forest. They have spent a bit of money this year. I'm just trying to look on my mobile phone.
Jesse Lingard.
They've bought Jesse Lingard from United.
The
The GOAT. I just don't think that they have got what it takes to stay up in the Premier League. I'm still trying to find here on my phone here who Nottingham Forest have got. That's come in. Oh, we've got Jesse Lingard. They've got Dean Henderson from Manchester United on loan.
That's a good transfer.
They got Nico Williams.
They've had decent window
from 17 million. They've bought Aurel Mangala from Stuttgart, 12.7 million. And a name that I can't even pronounce from a club called Union Berlin, 17.5. So
they've had a good window.
They've spent a lot of money, but it's whether they can cut it in the Premier League. They haven't been in the Premier League for a long time. And I think they're going to be a team that struggles.
That's why in 17th to survive, I have put Nottingham Forest. What a transfer window they have had.
Yeah.
For me, one of the best transfer windows in the whole of the league.
Really? Is that what you think?
Yeah, for a championship team coming up to Premiership, they've now got a Premiership team.
They worry me a little bit, to be honest with you. Teams that come up from the Championship to the Premier League that spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen it before. They go back down and lose a lot of their players. You know, it's very worrying when teams come up. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. But I did like the way that Brentford done it last year without blowing my own GOAT team. You know, they came up from the Championship last year and they didn't spend a lot of money. They just bulked up a little bit and they managed to stay up. And I just think there's a lot of teams that come up that spend a lot of money that go back down and get themselves in debt. And I'm fearful that may be Nottingham Forest. 17th for me, I've put Leeds United.
Leeds that far down?
I've put Leeds in 17th place with 35 points, which generally is about 5 points off the 40 points that we like to see the teams get to stay up. I think that they've sold a lot of their good players.
Yeah, a lot of good players. I mean, I've put them really close. I've put them in 16th.
Right.
Okay. To right above. I think they're going to struggle this year. Rafinha going to Barcelona. Calvin Phillips going to City. I mean, Rafinha, where are Barcelona getting all this money from?
Well, they have spent a bit of money. I've looked
quite a lot.
I looked here today, to be honest with you. Leeds, they've spent quite a bit of money.
Tyler Adams.
They bought Tyler Adams from Leipzig. They bought Brendan Aronson from Red Bulls Salzburg.
So there's a Jesse March, RB Leipzig, RB Salzburg. Big connection there. Ex-managers of both the clubs.
Rasmus Christiansen. They bought him for 10 million. Mark Rocker from Bayern Munich for 10 million. Luis Sirises. Some guy from Feyenoord, 25.4 million. So they have spent a lot of money, but they've sold a lot of people.
A lot of big players.
Can they survive with selling Calvin Phillips and Rafinha? Is that how you spell it?
Yeah, Rafinha.
Yeah, I mean, that's 105 million pounds for players.
Rafinha kept them up last year.
So I'm going to say 17th place, Leeds United. What did you put for 17th? Or have you done your
Nottingham
17th?
Forest.
Nottingham Forest. So what have you done for 16th?
I've put Leeds United as well.
Leeds United for 16th.
As I mentioned earlier, they've sold a lot of players. Just really, there's not much else we can say about them. They've brought in a few players. Jesse Marsh links, the American he used to manage RB Leipzig, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. for a couple of seasons, actually. And then he's just gone to Leeds and cleared out a few of their players that could have been gone years ago. 2 world-class players. Wonder how they're going to do. They kept Patrick Bamford.
16th place for me, I have put Brentford. Now, if you had asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did predict Brentford to go down. It's their second season in the Premiership. They got rid of Christian Eriksen's gone to Man United, as we said before. I wasn't too pleased about that, but we'll leave that for another episode. He's gone to Man United. I think that was a silly move, him going to Man United, personally. I think that he should have stayed with Brentford or gone to Spurs. But hey-ho, that's a different show, like we said. So I thought that Brentford were possibly going to go down. But in the last couple of weeks, they've bought 3 players. They've bought
Adam Hickey.
They've bought Adam Hickey from Bologna for 18 million. They got, let's have a look here, Keane Lewis Potter from Hull for 20 million. I've heard that he is a good player.
Big signing. Ben Mee from Burnley on a free.
Yes.
Very big signing there.
And also
experienced Premier League defender.
And also they've been out and they've bought a new goalkeeper as well, the Lazio goalkeeper. So, I think that they have spent wisely. They haven't gone silly over the top. They've bought a few squad players because, as we know, last season, come around Christmas time, there was a lot of people that got injured. They had to get Eriksen on a free, which was very, very helpful, admittedly. But I feel for Brentford, the one thing that may let them down is they have not got any experience. They haven't got that Eriksen anymore. And I think that could be a problem. But I've heard through the grapevine that they are looking to buy a winger and a couple of extra people. So I think that bulk in the squad up, I've put them down for 16th. Whether they can keep hold of Ivan Toney is a big, big one. I've heard Manchester United's after him. I've heard that Newcastle and Everton and Leeds, they're all after Ivan Toney. They lose Ivan Toney, they could struggle this year. But I've got them down for 16th place.
So should we move on to 15th now?
Go for it.
My 15th is Brentford.
Right.
I'm predicting them the same place that they finished last year. I think Eriksen's gone, that's a big loss, but they've signed a couple players. Eriksen didn't cost very much. He only had wages and he was on a free transfer. The fact that they've got Ben Mee for a free transfer for a couple of seasons now could really, really help them, I feel. Because Brentford have this thing where they play really, really well against like the Liverpools, the Chelseas and stuff like that. But then struggle to get the small points. Like last season you saw against Norwich.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're a team that's learning, and hopefully they can stay up. It's going to be a very, very hard season for them. I like the way the chairman, Matt Binham, I like the way that he has run the club. You've got to remember that 10 years ago, Brentford were in the bottom division, and in 10 years, they've gone from the bottom division up to the Premier League. They've built a new stadium. Yeah. They're doing things right.
Going.
Could they end up in the top 6 in the next few years? We never know. We'll just have to wait and see.
That's pushing it a bit.
They're going in the right direction. They're going in the right direction. But Leicester. Who thought Leicester would ever win the Premiership? Number 15, I've put Brighton. I don't think that Brighton are going to have that great a season this year. Jack's looking shocked. I don't think that they're going to have that great a season this year. I think they haven't really bought. Have they bought any players at all this year?
No clue. I know they signed Basuma to Tottenham, but they finished in the top 10 last year.
Yeah, well, things happen. I just think that there is some bigger teams than them in the Premiership this year, so I'm going to go 15th place, Brighton. Over to you, Zachary.
Also, it kind of sounds like Cucurella's going to Man City, so that would be bad.
Don't mean anything to me, that. I just think they're going to sell more players than what they're going to get in. So, 14th for you. Who do you reckon is going to end up in 14th?
Everton. For one reason, and one reason only, was Charlison. He went to Spurs. Spurs had a really good window and they got Charlison out of it. Very, very world-class player. Should be playing, he could start for like teams like Spurs on the wing every week.
Have they bought anybody at all?
I'm not too sure. They've got James Tarkowski, I know they've signed.
They got him in from Burnley on a free. They've got Dwight McNeil.
Dwight McNeil.
They bought and out, like I say, out. They've had Richarlison to Tottenham for 60 million. I just think
they've sold too many players.
I think you're right. I don't think that the manager is skilled enough at this moment in his career in the Premiership to do them any justice. So I think you could be right there, Zach. I just got a feeling that before the beginning of the season, they're going to possibly get a couple of extra players in and jump up the table a little bit. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So 14th for me, I've put Southampton. Ooh. For me, Southampton struggled last year. Yeah. I think that had the season been a month or 2 months longer, I think that they would have been sucked into the relegation zone. I haven't looked at Southampton. I don't know if they've bought any players or if they've sold any players, but nothing really stands out without having to look. So I think that possibly they're going to slip down the table and finish roughly about where they did last season. I don't think they're going to improve at all. So for me, 14th is Southampton.
Okay. So should we go to 13th
Let's do this. Unlucky for some, 13.
So for me, I have put Newcastle United. The reason is that they've got all this money and they've spent quite a lot of it on good players. I know they signed Nick Pope from Burnley. A lot of Burnley players down low we've seen so far. Yeah.
I'm quite surprised about Newcastle. Once we found out that these massive billion, trillionaires, whatever you want to call them, moved him, I had a feeling that they were going to be the new Man City. I thought that they were going to be the team that sort of started just buying everybody.
Takes time though, doesn't it?
They haven't done that. They've been, they've only been spent. Are they only allowed to spend a certain amount of money in the Premiership? Is there a rule?
There is. I don't know what it is. It's a really stupid rule. I think it's something like 200 million a season. I may be wrong. Don't fact correct me on that. But yeah, I feel like with Newcastle, you've got to really think it's going to take time, a lot of time for them. When they're in the top 10 in the Premier League, they're going to get bigger moves, aren't they? But when they're lower down, they have to be at least 7th or higher for big players at big club that would want to go for money and also for the experience of the Premier League. It's going to take time.
Is their manager going to cut it? I mean, I was a little bit...
I think he will.
I thought they should have kept Steve Bruce.
No, I reckon Steve Bruce is... I love Steve Bruce.
Yeah. For me, I've put Leicester for 13th place. I think, Leicester was slowly creeping down the table last year. They haven't bought anybody. They haven't really sold anybody. And again, at this current stage in the Premier League, they might buy somebody in the next few weeks. But at this moment in time, I just don't think, they won the Premier League a few years ago. But I mean, it was a little bit, was it luck? I don't really know. But they gradually, over the seasons, been selling a few of their best players. They've not really replaced them at all. And I just think that they're a team that's slowly going to start, slipping down the table. So for my 13th place is Leicester. What about your number 12, Zach?
My number 12 is, I don't think this team should, it's only improving. I just couldn't find another team to go in this place. So I've put them here and it's just a mid-table battle. It's like 4 teams that are in this place every season. The normal Crystal Palace.
Right.
I think they'll finish lower. Patrick Vieira did a great job last season. Amazing job. I haven't really seen them sign anyone. It's just kind of been the same window. And other teams around them have signed players.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. That is a very good call. Crystal Palace, I've got them a little bit higher up in the league. We'll go on to that in a minute. But for my 12th place, I have put Wolves. They're another team. I'm looking
slipping down.
They've bought in is it Hwang Hee-chan?
Hee-chan
From Leipzig.
They had him on loan and he just didn't do anything. I think he got injured or something. It's like a new signing now.
Yeah, they've bought him on anyway from them for 10 million, and they've also bought Nathan Collins from Burnley, 20.5 million. So they've spent 30.5 million on
two players.
And 2 players I don't think are going to make the team. They're not going to make the difference. So I've put down for 12th place for me, Wolves.
Yeah. I mean, Wolves are slowly slipping down. They're in my 11th place. I think they're only going down, and there's only a little longer that Jimenez can save them every year, isn't it?
It's a little bit of a shame, really, because I do like Wolves. They're a team that I've always really liked, and they're a team that they can jinx the big teams. You know,
yeah, they can. Man City, they do it quite a lot to them. I mean, they get some good results against Liverpool, only lose by like 1 goal most of the time. Really good.
What about your number 11?
Well, my number 11 is Wolves. What's yours?
Everton, for me.
Everton.
I got a feeling that, I don't know, I think, was last year a big mistake? You know, I don't know. I think that the manager that they've got, is he going to keep them climbing up the table? They haven't spent any money. They haven't lost any players, I don't think. Let me have a look here now.
Yeah, they lost.
They've got Ruben Vicari, I think he's called, from Sporting Lisbon on loan. They got James Tarkowski from Burnley on a free.
Yeah, lots of
Dwight McNeil from Burnley. They've got obviously they got rid of
sold Richarlison, Delph.
I don't
experienced players have gone.
I just think perhaps I think they're going to just make a little bit of a difference than they did last year, pick up a few extra points, climb up the table a little bit, but nothing earth-shattering. I think this is going to be my one, which is going to be, I'm putting all my eggs in the basket for them, and I think that they could also be a team that could quite easily just be off relegation.
Yeah.
10th for you, mate?
Well, mine is Brighton. And I think Brighton, wonderful season last year. I just think they're going to finish in the exact same spot. I mean, I haven't really seen them sign anyone. They sold Basuma, but I'm pretty sure he's injured for most of the season. They sell Cucurella, it's a different story.
Right, okay. 9th for me. Is it 9th? No, number 10th. Sorry, Crystal Palace. Don't really know much about them. They're like Wolves. They're a jinx team. They can either, stuff you like years and years ago, you old 90s people. They can either beat Liverpool 4-3 in a cup semi-final, or they could lose 9-0 to them. It's that sort of team. But I think that they've got a good manager, Patrick Vieira. I think they've got a few good players on the pitch that can keep them, in the mid-table. So for me, number 10, it's got to be Crystal Palace.
On the day, Palace could beat anyone.
They could. But I think on the day, anybody could beat anybody in this league.
I mean, on that day, Fulham could beat City or Liverpool if they weren't at the top of the game.
So where are we at now?
Well, we are pushing into the top half of the table now. My number 9 is Aston Villa, team that I thought had a very good window.
Give me a fist pump on that one. My number 9 as well. I've done exactly the same. I think, you look at the manager, Gerrard. I think last week he put his foot in the Premier League. He didn't do a bad job. He kept them up. They've bought a couple of good players, players that I've never heard of before. But if he says they're good players, I believe in him. And I think
they've got Coutinho now. Haven't they?
They've got Coutinho, and that was an absolute steal. What was it? 12.5 million.
It wasn't that. It wasn't much. And Coutinho, I reckon, will change them. Leon Bailey didn't really perform that well last season. Not as much as people expected him to. I think he'll have a good season this year. And they got a decent team. Nothing really very special, but nothing horrendous. So that's why they're mid-table.
Yeah. Good team. Good solid team there.
Definitely.
So I agree with you. Number 9, Aston Villa. What's your number 8 then, Zach?
Well, my number 8 is a team you put lower. Leicester.
Right.
Do you want me to tell you why I've put them there?
Tell me.
One reason, they're not in any European competitions at all.
No.
And I think that just changes the levels completely. It will help them out so much. And teams that finished higher last season get there and they don't. I think it really, really helps them out for squad depth. They don't have to play a different team every week depending on what tournaments they're playing.
Yeah. Can I just break in here and just say, guys, if you're enjoying this so far, please like and subscribe. Tell everybody about this. We are going to be doing a lot more stuff on this. We are going to try and get a green screen and try and make it look a little bit nicer in the background, so you can't see our junk room. But we're just, we're starting out. We're just having fun here. So, yeah, I agree with you there, Zach. I think, I put them further on down the table, but they're one of those teams that could, I've basically in my mid-table, there's about 6 or 7 teams.
They finish there every year.
There's not many points difference between them, and any one of those teams can jump up or any one of those teams can jump down. But what are we on? Did we say number Number 8.
8. Who's your number 8?
West Ham.
West Ham.
Yeah, I think that they're one of these teams that are trying to make it into the big league. They obviously got the new stadium and they've spent a few pounds over the years on players. I think they're going to be one of these teams that either break into the top half of the table or slip into the lower half of the table this year. Or they could go on a good cup run. They're one of those teams that could beat anybody on the day. So I'm going to say I like West Ham. I like them as a team. And I think that Benrahma is going to have I think he's going to have a bit better season this year. And I think that they're going to not slip up, sorry. I think they're going to slip into the top half of the table and get 8th place for me.
Personally, what I think of West Ham is that they need a striker really badly. Because Antonio, he's really, really good, but he misses easy chances that he should tuck away.
I've put them in 8th place because I thought and this is a big if they do get Ivan Toney, Benrahma, Ivan Toney up front together, that is, there's a lot of points available there.
Yeah.
I don't think they will get Ivan Toney. I think if Ivan Toney does go anywhere, I think that it will be to Newcastle or Manchester United. But there's always the chance that he does go to West Ham and Brentford do an exchange for Benrahma and they get Benrahma back to Brentford. So, it's all about the money. It's all about the ding, 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 ding. So like you say, I think that I've got West Ham there down for 8th place.
Yeah, so at my 7th place, West Ham, the exact same. They just need striker.
Yeah.
That's really it for me.
Yeah. 7th, I have got... Now how I made all my predictions here is because I got the team and I went all for the league and I said whether they're going to get a home win or an away win against the teams that they were playing against. And then I tallied it all up and then I put them in the league. Now, I've put Arsenal for number 7.
What?
And I don't know why I've got Arsenal for number 7.
Zinchenko, Gabby, what?
Yeah, but Arsenal are a funny team. They always start the season poorly. I've got a feeling that this season, where did they end up last year? They ended up about 4th, was it 5th? 5th. I think they're going to be battling out with Spurs, and I think Spurs are going to come on top again this season. I just don't think... I'm not sure with Arsenal. I just never see them really pushing and pushing and pushing. So I've got a feeling they're going to slip down to 7th. And hopefully I'm wrong on that one because I do like Arsenal as a team, but I'm putting them down as a shock this season and I'm going to put Arsenal down for 7th.
Okay, so let's move on to our top 6. So Europa League spots, number 6. I've predicted it to be nearly the exact same in the top 6 above. I've gone for number 6, Manchester United.
Right. Why? Why number 6? Why? Where did they end up last year? Were they 6th? So with the quality of the players they've bought this year, do you not think that they're going to get any better at all?
Yeah, they've bought a few good players, but really it's been a club clear out. And it's going to take time until they push into How
do you think Eriksen will do at United?
I don't really think he'll have a good season. I think it'll be an average season.
Yeah.
Midfielder.
Talking to the mic, mate. Get a bit closer to the mic. We can't hear what you said. What about will old Ronaldo stay at Brentford? Sorry, Man United.
You wish.
No, I don't actually. Would he is he going to stay at United?
I reckon he will. I just think he will. And if he goes to anywhere else, be Sporting. But, no one wants him. Who wants him? No. Atletico Madrid went to a game, put up a sign saying, we don't want Ronaldo.
Nobody wants him. He's getting too old. He's a class player, but he's too old. And he's going to cost a lot of the clubs at the top a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I just don't... I think he's had his day. I think that really... He chose to go to United. I think he's just got to stick with it now and keep his loyalties at United, really, basically. My number 6 is Newcastle. I think that they are going to get into the top 6. They've spent a lot of money. That I think you look like that, Zach, but there's nothing stopping Newcastle at Christmas time spending £150 million on a couple of players.
Wait. So you've put West Ham in 7th? And you've put Newcastle United.
I've put West Ham in 8th, and I've put Newcastle United.
So
in
you
6th.
put Arsenal in 7th.
Yeah. Yeah.
And put Newcastle United in 6th.
It's a crazy world that we live in. I mean, who would have thought Brentford ever being in the Premier League, and who would have thought Brentford ever beating Chelsea 4-1 last season? So, you know what I'm saying? You never know what might happen. So, who have you got there then?
Number 5?
Yeah.
Well, I put Arsenal.
Arsenal. That's good call. Good solid call, that one.
Mikel Arteta getting his agent back to Pep. His agent Pep signing Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Marquinhos. It's not PSG Marquinhos, as everyone thought as they posted on their Twitter. Marquinhos is here, and it was on. His name's Marquinhos, but he isn't the world-class centre-back that we all thought he was.
Right, okay. I am going to say what we're on number 5 now, was it?
Number 5.
Number 5, Man United. I think that they finished 6th last year. I think a couple of players that's joined, they could possibly get another couple of players. I think that they're just going to creep up a place from last year and end up in the top 5. I think that Eriksen is a class player. I think he will do a good job in the games that he plays. I don't think that he will get as many games as what he expects. But I do think that Ronaldo will possibly stay. There's a chance that they could get Ivan Toney.
De Jong as well.
If they don't get Ivan Toney, they will get somebody else. And like we said, they've got a good manager. I know that it's a little bit risky behind the scenes with the the owners and that lot. And there's a lot of the paint flaking that once was there. But I just think that, Man United aren't a team that's going to keep on finishing in 6th place. So I think they are going to improve, and they are going to improve a little tiny bit. So I've put them up to be in 5th place.
So we are getting on to the top 4, the big dogs of the Premier League. So who have you put in 4th then?
Spurs. I think that they've spent a bit of money this year. I don't think they're going to improve over it. I think they've done better last season.
Here's my opinion on Spurs. The best transfer window in the whole of the Premier League.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
100%. Ivan Perisic, that is a steal.
Yeah. But I mean, the way I look at it is Spurs are a good team. They've spent a lot of money, right? But are they consistent enough? They haven't been over the years. And I think that they are building, they are getting better, but I just don't think they're good enough to pip the 3 that I've put in the top 3. So for me, 4th place, Spurs. What about you?
Chelsea. I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, they've had a really good transfer window. Koulibaly, they got Raheem Sterling. But if you think of it, all Barcelona have been like watching their transfer tactics. They went in for Rafinha. Rafinha was bought by Barca. They were involved in Lewandowski. He goes to Barca. And Jules Koundé from Seville, they wanted him. And Barca have put a 1 billion release clause on him.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much unsignable now.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, that's a good call. That is a good call. What position are we at now? Number
3. We're going
number 3. I've put Chelsea for my number 3. They've spent a bit of money this year. Where did they end up? 3rd last year.
3rd last year.
I think they're going to. I think really the top 4 are pretty much the same this year for me. Chelsea are a good team. I don't think they're good enough to be better than Man City. I don't think they're better than Liverpool. So I've put Chelsea 77 points in 3rd place.
Can I tell you a little fact about Raheem Sterling?
You do that, Stato.
Everyone hates him, yeah?
I can't stick him.
Well, he's got 4 Carabao Cups to his name.
Big deal.
4 Premier League titles to his name.
That's good.
He's 27.
He is. Got a few more years left.
So everyone's giving him stick. But the things that he's got quite a lot of stuff, and he's got lots of silverware. He's very good for England. He's really pacey. I think he'll have a really good team.
Good on him.
Well, my number 3.
Your number 3?
Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham.
And I think...
You think Tottenham are going to end up above Chelsea? Why?
The transfer window that they've had. Lengate was a steal. Perisic is a steal. The attack of Kulusevski, Heung-min Son, and Harry Kane. Yeah. That's probably the most underrated top 3 you're going to get.
Is Kane going to stay there, though? Do you reckon somebody will steal him at the last minute? No?
I mean, Son.
He's good
for me, the best left winger in the world at the minute.
I think that Kane is that boring. Nobody would want to buy him. I mean, he can.
He hates Kane. He hates Harry Kane.
He can make cheese curdle. He is that boring. I just can't stick the bloke. So, yeah,
England's number 9.
England's number 9, equalled by Ivan Toney last year on his goals. My number 2.
Well, the thing with me, Spurs. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you there.
No, go ahead.
But we got Spurs. I just think they're not on the level of Man City and Liverpool. No one is.
No
one is. No one in the Premier League will finish top 2 if they're there.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
So we're down to the last 2 now. Now we know who the last 2 are going to be. It's either going to be Man City or Liverpool. We got a Man City fan next to us, right? Is he going to say that his team is the best in the world and they're better than Liverpool and they're going to stay top? Or is he going to say that Liverpool have done better business to them this year? For me, I have chosen Manchester City to come second place. I disagree. Manchester City on 90 points this season. And I just think that Liverpool, I think they've spent their money a little bit wiser, I think, personally.
What?
I think they've been unlucky. And Liverpool would have won the Premier League for the last 3 seasons had it not been for Man United.
If Man United,
Man City. I don't know. I'm drunk. I think that they would have won the Premier League for the last 3 years had it not been for Man City. And I just think that we're up the top there. I think that anything could happen. One game they could lose, one game they could draw, and the other team will go and win the next 8 games in a row. So I just think that it is a toss-up, a flick of the coin over the last few years between Man City and Liverpool. And I've put Liverpool are going to win it by 4 points this year. So just because I think that Nunez is going to smash in some goals for Liverpool this year. So, and I think that, all right, you've lost Sterling. And,
who cares about Sterling? It gives room for the youngsters.
But he does bang in some goals.
Yeah, but Phil Foden, Sterling's also scored 100 goals for City.
I did read this morning, though, that they reckon Grealish could be going back to Villa.
Who cares?
I can't hear what you're saying. You're not talking in the mic again.
Grealish has had a horrendous first season.
Overrated. It's like going to the shop, wanting to buy some butter, can't buy butter, buy a margarine just because it's got utterly butterly on the front. I don't rate him at all. So you're saying then that Liverpool are going to end up in second place and Man City are going top. That's what you said, yeah?
Why? Is because with these world-class teams, when you're in relegation and you just survive, you sign improvements. But with Liverpool and Man City, there is no improvements. I mean, all City needed was striker. They bought a striker. Liverpool sold Sadio Mane. And that is a really, really, really big loss.
I don't think so.
I think it is. Well, Haaland, top scorer. He's going to be amazing.
He showed how his amazing skills in the cup there the other day against Liverpool.
Cares about charity cup.
He missed an open goal.
Yeah, but he scored against Bayern Munich. Debut he scored.
I think Haaland's going to be another Shevchenko. You won't remember Shevchenko, but Shevchenko went to Chelsea about 10, 15 years ago. He was the best thing since sliced bread. He got there, DS. He was just not any good whatsoever.
Yeah, but
I don't think Haaland's going to be as a success as what he's made out to be. I think he's going to be heavily marked. And I just think that Liverpool, they did get rid of Mane, but I think that they've signed a class striker, Salah. I think that they've done I think they got another contract for him, didn't they? Bought him, got another 5-year contract, whatever it is. I think the guy is mustard. They had to buy him. I think they've built around him as well by getting Nunez. And they've got some pacey players. And it just goes to show, Trent Alexander-Arnold scored a goal there at the weekend. They've got players. Watch out for Luis
Diaz this year.
Yeah.
He's going to be really good. The reason I put City at the top is because Haaland, I reckon, is going to be amazing this year. But if you think of it as well, that squad has to be one of the best squads in the world. And Haaland, he's from the Bundesliga. This happens all the time. Bundesliga, world-class striker. The Bundesliga apparently is one of the easiest leagues in the world. Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund always. But the man's Champions League records, this man must have the world record for the most Champions League world records. It's not like he just does it in the Premier League. He's one of the best.
Yeah. Don't forget as well, this season, we've got the World Cup at Christmas.
Yes.
So there's going to be a break at Christmas. Don't forget, there's going to be some players that's going to get injured at an important time of the season. How is that going to affect? Who's going to win the World Cup, do you think?
I'd like to say England, but I disagree. I think it's going to be Messi or Ronaldo's year.
Up the Lionesses as well.
Yeah, well done to Lionesses. Let's just give them a moment.
Yeah.
What a game on the weekend.
Yeah, it was all right. They weren't bad for girls. They done all right. No, I just, as much as I love to see the females doing well at football, I think it's absolutely amazing. At the end of the day, the standard of football is quite a bit lower. They showed that when was it the USA won the World Cup last time, and they played their under-15s men, and the men beat them. You know, there is a lot of difference, and it's great to see that the girls, you know, progressing in football, and it has got better. But look, guys, all these people that's out there saying that they should be on equal money to the men, you've just got to look at the amount of money that the men are bringing into football at the moment. You know, for prime example, you've got like Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City, these big teams that are getting 60,000 people in each game at the top of the Premier League. The one of the biggest teams in women's football is Arsenal. They play at Boreham Wood. They bring in like 5,000 people every game. There's a lot of difference. Yeah. I think they have to prove themselves a little bit more, and they have to get a bit more bigger sponsorship deals in before they're on the same wages as the men. But
it was a very exciting game.
Yeah.
I mean, good on them.
I don't want to slag them off. I think it's great that's what they're doing, but I just think,
come home finally. We've won something.
We've won something. So there we are, guys. We've just told you our predictions this year, who we think are going to win the league. I think Liverpool are going to do it. Zach thinks Man City are going to do it. I think we're pretty much agreeing to the bottom of the Premier League who's going to go down. The bottom two, we was pretty much saying that we thought it was going to be Fulham and Bournemouth. Is it going to be Nottingham Forest, or who did you say, Zach?
Well, Nottingham Forest, I said it was
Southampton.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we are. So that is what we've done. That is our predictions. Check in with us in about 60 weeks' time. See who is right, see who is wrong. Just to end up this episode, we're going to talk briefly about this week's coming games. The first game of the season, match day 1. First game of the season is Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. What we're going to do here is I've wrote down my scores. Zach's going to wrote down his scores. And what we're going to do is next week we're going to give 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and we're going to see who got the most points out of the two of us. Have a little bit of a challenge, and at the end of the season, see who gets the most points out of me and Zach.
Put your predictions down in the comments below as well.
In your
join
comments.
in, track your points.
Yeah. In your comments, why don't you put in the comments here now who you think's going to win the Premier League this year? Put Premier League winners. Put it in the comments.
Yes.
Also put the 3 teams that you think are going to get relegated. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to drop us as many messages as you want in the comments, and we will get back to you. So the first game of the season is Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. What's your score prediction, Zach?
Well, mine is 1-1 for the reason that Crystal Palace it's just Palace are like a good team, but Arsenal, I would say they're bigger, but they have a really bad start.
They do. They lost to Brentford 2-1 last season. I've got them down as a 1-1 draw. I just think Arsenal always start the season off poorly. I don't think they're going to lose away to Crystal Palace. I think a draw is a fair result. So 1-1 for me. The second game of the season, second game is Fulham versus Liverpool. Away, Liverpool have got Fulham away. What's your score prediction there, Zach?
I put 3 Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool. Talking to the microphone again, mate, because every time you look away...
3-0 Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool. I have put Liverpool 3, Fulham 1. So we've both said that we reckon that they're going to win. So far, so good. We've both got pretty much agreement so far. I just think that Liverpool is just going to show Fulham, welcome to the Premier League. And I just think that they're going to, they're probably going to get about 70% possession, and they're probably going to be able to score more goals, but I think it will be 3-1. Next game is Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. Have you got a home or away win there, Zach?
Bournemouth, Aston Villa. I put Villa to win 2-0.
I've got them down as a 2-1. Bournemouth are back in the Premier League. I think that Villa it's going to be one of those games where Villa are going to go away, and I think that they could have scored a lot more goals, but I think that they're going to be trying a few new players and they're a little bit rusty. Yeah. I think that it's going to be a 2-1 Villa. Newcastle Forest.
Well, you got to think of it. Forest, newly promoted, not as good as some of the other big teams like Newcastle. I think 2-0 Newcastle.
I've got Newcastle as a 3-0 win. I think that they have got something to prove this season, and I think the best way of proving it is against a team that has just come up. So they're going to just go out all guns firing, and I think it's going to be Newcastle 3, Forest 0. Spurs versus Southampton.
Spurs versus Southampton. It's a good clash. I've gone Spurs 2, Southampton 0.
Exactly the same as me. I think that Spurs will win that quite comfortably. And, first game of the season at home against Southampton, I think that's got 2-0 wrote all over it. Leeds versus Wolves. That's going to be a difficult one, I predict.
Leeds versus Wolves. So I'm predicting there that it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Are you looking over my shoulder here? Because we got the same scores again there, mate.
Have we?
Yeah, I've got Leeds 1, Wolves 1. It's going to be a hard game, that one. I think both teams are going to be battling out around the same part of the division this year. And I think that is going to be a right battler for the beginning of the season.
It's going to be a good,
Leeds
good
1,
game.
Leeds 1, Wolves 1.
You've got Sky Sports. That is the game to watch.
I don't know. This is going to be a good one. Everton versus Chelsea.
Everton-Chelsea. Pretty simple, 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 to Chelsea by me as well. So I agree with you there, mate. I think that, Chelsea are going to go away to Goodison Park and slip 2 easy goals in there. Leicester-Brentford.
Leicester-Brentford. I am going to put Leicester 1, Brentford.
Same as me. It's exactly the same again. I think that Leicester are going to be a little bit cautious of Brentford. I think they're going to, been watching them, and I think that they're going to be trying to play for possession and keep the ball off Brentford and stop the new players of Brentford, proving themselves. Ivan Toney, I think, is going to score a goal there and to start the season off. And I think that one player for Brentford that's going to shine through this year, Tony's the guy that goes up front with Tony and Burmo. I think that he is going to this season. I think he had a bit of a rocky season last year. He's never recovered since COVID, but I think he's going to have a good season this year. I think that he will miss a penalty, saying that, and I think in the last minutes, and I think it's going to be just a 1-1 draw, but I'll settle for that. Man United versus Brighton.
I've put United 3, Brighton 1.
Really? Now, you predicted Brighton to be a good team this year. And you predicted Man United to be an average team. And last year, I do believe Brighton beat Manchester United.
4-0.
So why all of a sudden is it changed completely then?
Well, I've put Brighton mid-table, United pushing up into European competitions. The reason is that I think they're going to win is it is at Old Trafford. With the new signings, it's going to be a sellout for United. First game of the season, and I think the fans will just get them through it,
Man United 1, Brighton 0. I think that they're just going to scrape a win. I don't think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a very shaky game for United. First game of the season. I don't think that they've had a great pre-season, to be honest with you. They've won a couple of teams, but they've lost a lot. They played a couple of teams there last week. Was it who did they play last week?
Well,
Atletico Madrid, and they lost 1-0. That is a team that they should be beating.
No way.
I don't think that they are ready for the season. I really, really don't. And I think that they're just going to pit Brighton, and they're going to be running around the pitch, arms in the air, look at us, we're back, and it's Brighton. I just think that, I think it's going to be 1-0, and I think they'll be very happy with that. Last game is West Ham versus Man City.
Now, this is the Prem game to watch. 2 of the big dogs of the Premier League battling it out. I think 2-1 Manchester City. I think a Haaland goal to open up the scoring. Then maybe Jared Bowen to get an equaliser. And then it's just going to be a tap-in maybe later on from Kevin De Bruyne. World-class player. Deserves more than he gets.
I think that I agree with you on one of those things. I agree, I think that it is going to be the game of the game of the week. I think that West Ham are going to go 1-0 up, and I think it's going to ended up being 3-2 to Man City. I think it is going to be an end-to-end game. It's going to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2. But I think at the end of the day, Man City have just got a little bit more a lot more talent than
maybe just a bit.
But I think on the day, they've got that little bit more in the dressing room. So I'm going to say 2-3 to Man City.
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. We have given our predictions for the week. We may be here next week. Zach's going away on his holes for 2 weeks down the caravan. So we may be here, or we may have to skip it a week. But we've started the season off. We've told you whereabouts we think our teams are going to end up in the league. We have also told you the predictions for this week.
Yes.
Get in contact with us. Tell us who your football team is. Drop in the comments what team you support. Tell us where you think they're going to end up in the Premier League. And Zach, leave it. We'll finish it off with you.
Well, I think tonight's broadcast has been very, very good. I think that it's been a really great start. Apologies for if we've made any mistakes or anything. It's been good fun, and I hope you'll be seeing us as soon as our next broadcast is. It will maybe be in a couple weeks.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Stay safe. Stay classy. Cheese.